Hello, welcome to the web mining session. My name is Jomon Jose. I am from University of Glasgow, Scotland, UK. Greetings to all of you. Please note the session times shown are Central China Time, Standard Time. Okay, we have 5 private papers in this session, 3 for 30 minutes and 2 for 15 minutes one. And our first presenter is Jichuan Zeng, and he's going to talk about what changed your mind, the roles of dynamic topics and discourse in augmentation process. Welcome, Jichuan Zeng, and I hope you will keep your presentation for 25 minutes and 5 minutes for questions. Thank you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, let's start. So yeah, I'm Jichuan Zeng from the Chinese University of Hong Kong. So today my topic is about what changed your mind, the role of dynamic topic and discourse in argumentation process. And this is a joint work with Hong Kong Polytechnic University and the University of Warwick and the Harbin Institute of Technology, Zeng. So my talk has 4 parts. The first, I will introduce the background and motivation of our work, and then we will propose our solution, and then we'll demonstrate some empirical results. And then we will draw some suggestions from our work and conclude our work in the end. So argumentations and debates, So our world is full of uncertainties and chaos. Argumentation and debates play a central role in our world to make a decision, construct knowledge, bring insights, and bring new ideas to life. So IBM even developed an AI named Project Debater, which can debate with human based on the evidence and the facts. So with the popularity of social media, online argumentation platforms such as iDebate, ConvinceMe, and createdebates.com, they allow the people to exchange and refine their idea without the limitation of time and space. And it also allow us to analyze the argumentation in a larger scale. However, to analyze the persuasiveness in argumentation is very challenging. So here is an example from the ConvinceMe, and the prompt is the school uniform a good or a bad idea? There are 2 arguments with the positive stance. The first argument says that I think it's good within certain limitation. With the limits, I went to school with a uniform and it was far less stressful than non-uniform college. And the second argument says that student victimizations is likely to be lower and fights and guns activity should be decreased. So which argument is more convincing? It's hard to judge, right? Because it's too objective. Actually, the argument level persuasiveness has been studied for decades, not just in computer science, but also in social psychology. So people study the evidence and the facts in the argument, study the syntax, the rhetoric factors, and even the emotional aspects. But I can tell that even you have such knowledge, it is still a very hard and doubting task for human readers to make sense of these arguments. So our motivation to tackle these problems comes from the word from a French essayist, Joseph Joubert. He said, the end of the argument or of discussion should not be victory, but progress. So here we examine the dynamic progress of the argumentations and study their context. So in most of the online argumentation platform, the arguments are organized in a conversation structure. So here is an example from Change My View, which is challenging the topic, learning a second language isn't worse for most people anymore. We can see the first argument provides some evidence by saying learning a second language has significantly better cognitive abilities. And the second argument make a metaphor by comparing the second language with learning a musical instrument. And the last arguments provide some references by list some links and statistics to support the benefits of learning a second language. So here we can see that it is the evidence and the style change that pushing the argument and push the argumentation forward. So how can we check this evidence and the styles? Intuitively, here we focus on two aspects of the argumentation, that is what and how. What here means what this argumentation is centered around is actually the topical content of the argumentation. And it can be indicated by the topical words, such as the language, cognitive abilities, baseline cognition. And how means how the participants voice their idea. It's such something like asking a question, make a statement, make a contrast. And it can be summarized as the discourse rows. And such discourse rows can be indicated by the discourse words, such as will, should, what, question mark, and URL links, and etc. So our work is related with two lines of research. The first is about the argumentation of persuasiveness analysis. So most of the work, they didn't consider the argumentation process, and some of the work used handcraft features, which require lots of labor-intensive features, engineering, and even some work analyzes the argumentation conversation, but they didn't have a deep understanding about the argumentation process. Another line of research is about conversation process understanding. So people studied the unsupervised modeling conversation, but they did not focus on the argumentation persuasiveness. And some other works didn't consider the latent key factors in the argumentation process. So next is our solution. So we first formalize the problems as the following. So given two conversational argument process, C1 and C2 from the same debate D, each is consists of a sequence of argumentative turns that is from X1 to XT. Our goal is to predict which argument process is more convincing or persuasive. And we also want to extract the key factors of the persuasiveness and their changes in the argumentation process. Our settings can be fit into various scenarios, such as the formal debate, which both sides make their statement in turn, and the court scenario, where the petitioners and the respondent talk to a judge in turn, and the general argumentation, such as the online argumentation platform. So our model intuition looks like this. So we first have our two argumentation process, C1 and C2. We then extract the latent variables for each turn of the argument. That is the latent variable, that is the latent topic Z and the latent discourse D. So after that, we have the latent variables with each of the term. And then we model the dynamic process of the changes of these latent variables. And then we can output a persuasiveness score for each argumentation process. We denote Y here. So if C is more persuasive than C1 is more persuasive than C2, we have Y1 bigger than Y2. Otherwise, Y1 less than Y2. So here we can see that it is following a pairwise machine learning framework. And because we didn't care the exact persuasiveness score of each argumentation process, we just want to know which one is more convincing. So this is our proposed dynamic topic memory, dynamic topic discourse memory network at time slice T. So we can see the input of this model is the argument at time step T. It has two forms. The first is the sequence form. The second is the bag of words form. The output is the persuasiveness score Y. Our model has three modules. The first module is the argument factor encoder. Here we extract the latent topic and latent discourse from the argument in bag of words form. So here we use different probabilistic prior and different laws to guide them to extract the topic and latent discourse, and map it then to different distributions. The second module is the dynamic processing encoder. Here we follow the memory augmented network. It has 3 submodules. The first submodule is the memory weight, where it is the concatenation of the latent variable Z and D. And the second submodule is the memory state update. Here we have the erase factor, E, to erase the retrieved memory, and the augment factor A to strengthen the retrieved memory. And the third submodule is the memory read content, where it is the weighted sum of the retrieved memory. So after that, we have the each term's read content. Here we use an attentive RNN to enroll all the read content R to output our persuasiveness score Y. So here we define 2 training losses. The first training loss is the argument factor loss. Here it is consist of the evidence lower bound of the latent topic and the latent discourse, the reconstruction loss of X, and a mutual information penalty, LMI. And the second loss is the persuasiveness prediction loss. So here we want to maximize the margin between the persuasive one and unpersuasive one. So here we employed a pairwise cross entropy loss to on the Y plus and Y minus. Our final objective is the summation of these 2 losses. And then we will, next session, I will introduce our empirical results. We conduct our experiments on 2 data sets, the Change My View data set from subreddit, which is a social media data set, and the court data set, which is from the American Supreme Court, which is a much formal data set. So here we apply some pre-processings and filtering on the Change My View data set. Noted that we first flattened the conversation into a path from the root post to the lived post. And we also replace some tokens, such as we replace the numbers to a digit token, replace the URL links to a link token, and also do some filtering, such as we restrict the number of the participants to bigger than a threshold. This is our pairwise persuasiveness prediction results. So the bottom is our full model, which can achieve significantly improvement than the baseline model. This one is a hierarchical attention RNN, which serves as a very strong base light. We can see that it has a good performance in Change My View, but in court data set, its performance is even worse than the basic logistic regression. This might be because the court data set is a relatively small data set, and this model are easy to get overfitting in this small data set. We can also see that our model actually has the ability to guess such overfitting issues. We also do some ablation studies by using the model without the topic factors and without the discourse factors, and we can see that it is without the discourse factors is much better than without topic factors. That means the topic factor is actually more important to the persuasiveness. We also illustrate our limited topic and discourse by listing the top 10 representative words from the topic and discourse. So for example, in the academic topic from the Change My View, we can see this corresponding topic words are PhD, psychological, genetic. It's all consistent with the limited topic. And for the limited discourse words, for example, in the statistics, we can see that in Change My View, the words are more digits words than less. And in the court, we can see that the words are resulting, register, counts, proximate, which are for more formal. So here we can see that even the same discourse roles, they are corresponding to different representative words in different debate scenarios. To illustrate, our model can distinguish the topic and the discourse. Here we visualize the topic and discourse assignment of the Change My View conversation. So we labeled the green one, the blue one as the discourse words, and the red one as the topic words. So we can see that some words such as language, participants, benefits are labeled as the topic words. And what other words, something like from and some URL links, these words are as the discourse words. Next, we studied the effects of topic and discourse on the argumentation persuasiveness. We first studied their effects on the number of the topics and varying discourse roles. From the first picture, we can see that it is very interesting that if your topic number is less than 6, you have a more chance to win. And if your topic number is larger than 7, and then you have a better chance to lose. For the topic, for the example, discourse roles such as the conjecture, quotation, contrast, pronoun, and numbers, and doubt, we can have interestingly, we found that quotation actually acts as a negative effects on the persuasion. So here is an example of quotation in Change My View. So people can quote others' words and attack the weak point of their opinions. But however, maybe people dislike about such criticisms, so which might render the negative in persuasion. And next, we studied the persuasiveness effects with the number of turns. So we observe a general trend that all the discourse roles, they have a decreasing trend. However, they have an increasing importance in the first initial turns. And the second observation is that even for the same discourse, they might have various effects on different debate scenario. For example, in the pronoun discourse, often express some personal feelings, which tend to be useful in the Change My View dataset, but its effects on the court dataset is not that apparent. We also conduct a case study for the examples we introduced in the beginning. So the horizontal axis is the different topic and discourse, and the vertical axis is the turn number. There are two heat maps. The upper heat map is the dynamic memory weight, which indicates the topic shift and discourse flow. And the bottom heat map is the persuasive effects for each topic and discourse. And the green color means that it has a positive effects, and the red color indicates it has a negative effects. So let's take a closer look. The topic cognition and cognitive topic are activated in the first few rounds, and its effects is also positive for the persuasiveness. And the discourse roles, such as the references and the statistics, are also highlighted in the argumentation process. And its effects is positive in the first few turns, but the effects tend to be negative in the last turn, which is A4. So here we can infer that maybe people are tired of such excessive URL links and the statistics without providing more insightful comments. Next, we will drop some suggestions from our study, which is very useful, and we will wrap up with a conclusion. The first suggestion for argumentation is that the topic are more important than the discourse style. This is come from our population study that the model without the discourse is much better than the model without the topic factors. These suggestions is also consistent with the findings of the social psychology. So they're saying that the topic content is more important than your speech style. The second suggestion is that the strong and focused argument points are better than diverse topic. So this comes from our study of the topic number and with the persuasiveness effects. So the less topic number you have and the more chance you're going to win. So keep your argument to have a focus point instead of list lots of irrelevant examples. The third suggestion is well-organize the points and address them into a modest and concrete way. So there are three aspects: well-organized, modest, and concrete. This all corresponding to our discourse roles, such as the well-organized is corresponding to the conjunction words such as, further, more, from, and these words actually will help you argument more consistent and logic. And modest corresponding to the pronoun words such as my, we, myself, ourselves. And these words actually express some personal feelings and can arouse the emphasis from others, which might be good in our persuasion. And the concrete corresponding to the statistics such as the digit numbers, more or less than approximates this word. And these words will help you argument more detailed and reliable. We also conduct error analysis for the output of our model. We summarize several error types. Here, for example, one error type is the preconceptions held by the opinion holders. So here is an example about the abortion ban law. So the opinion holder, the OP, has a very strong preconception about supporting the abortion ban law, where he just want to seek some agreement. So even though the challengers use a lot of evidence and the facts to challenge them, but they didn't get success to persuade the OP. So this also raises a challenge that how can we understanding the prior beliefs of the opinion holder. So finally is our conclusion. We proposed to dynamically track both topic and discourse factors in conversational argumentations for persuasiveness analysis. And we achieve a significant improvement in persuasiveness prediction. And our extensive empirical studies are conducted for the topic and discourse factor in argumentation process. And we also provide insights into the usefulness of topic and discourse by drawing several suggestions for good persuasion from our study. And our code is available in the GitHub. So in the end, I would like to share with you the word from the Chinese ancient sage, Confucius. He said, a superior man is modest in his speech, but exists in his actions. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Zeng. Are there any questions? Please switch on your, unmute your mic and video and ask any question. Or you can chat, you can write at the chat. Okay, maybe let me ask you, so how do you think, well, I mean, if we have a kind of social media data, like a tweet, right? And
yeah.
if it is concerning a topic or an event, will we be able to do this analysis on it? Or the text should be very structured for this to work?
Yes, here we focus on the argumentation, the data set. In our study, it's the Change My View. Change My View is actually a subreddit. It's a type of social media. Yeah. So
in general, it should work then, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Second question I have is, you see on slide 17, when you were have two losses, are they supposed to be the sum of the losses or the difference of the losses you are optimizing?
Yeah. Here I define the losses. Here are two training losses. All the losses is differentiable. Here.
Right. Yeah. So why did you use a prediction remove, take away the factor loss? Or is that the sum of the two losses you try to minimize?
You mean the argument factor
The
loss?
last sentence, final objective.
Yeah. The final objective is the summation of these two training losses.
Okay, so you're okay. No, that's a typo then. You give a minus, negative. L prediction minus some, not some. Okay, that's fine. That's a typo.
Oh yeah. I forgot because the first training loss here is to maximize this.
Right.
Evidence,
Okay.
because it is evidence lower bound. Yeah, it's you have to maximize it. So in here it is minor. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. That is my question. Thank you. Okay. Are there any other question, please? Okay. You got a minute or so. If you have any questions, please identify yourself and ask the question. Okay, it looks like it's a bit quiet. Thank you, Mr. Zeng, and thanks for the very nice talk.